Don't tell my wife, but we are going to own chickens and we're going to be millionaires. Well, we have my beautiful wife Rashawn here, and we are going to be talking about how we're going to own chickens and we're going to make millions of dollars, right, Rashawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what got us to this point that we're going to talk about chickens and eggs?
We were driving somewhere and I was like, how when we die, how much would eggs be up to? Would it get up to like $15 or, some outrageous number?
I mean, if you think back last year, they were at an outrageous number. So, guys, she's going to be more engaged in this. I will be looking down because I have a ton of notes that I took because I went down a rabbit hole and I found this out in approximately, would you say 19 minutes?
Yeah.
It took me 19 minutes to do research. And it took me 3.5 minutes to do research later on. And we'll get to that in a moment. But first and foremost, let's give you some numbers. Shall we give them some numbers, Rashawn?
Yes.
Numbers are fun. Numbers don't lie. Math is the only truth there is. Did you know, Ro, that, and we're going to talk just USA, just in the United States, not even Canada or Central America, just the United States. Were you aware that every day 255.1 million eggs are sold per day?
I didn't know that.
That's a crazy number. What if I was to tell you that that was just retail stores only, grocery stores and little markets like that? They account, it is, they account for 59%. Now, where's the other 41%? Well, 29% comes from processed into products, eggs that are processed, such as dried eggs or food that contains eggs. And then another 12% are the food service, like restaurants. So that's more. So we're talking 51% is 255.1 million. Times that number by 0.49, and that tells you what an additional amount of eggs are sold. I'm going to guess. That's all I'm going to do. It's about 470 million eggs per day. So who's some of the biggest sellers? Well, we're going to take two big markets. Now, I chose Publix because whenever my beautiful wife and I go to Florida, we always go to Publix. Yeah. Because they're clean, they're friendly, and they always have stock. They have 1,429 stores in the United States, and they sell 165 dozen eggs a day per store. So should we talk about Sam Walton? Should we talk about Walmart, Rashawn? Walmart in the United States has 4,500 stores. And per store, they sell 148 dozen per store per day. Every day, Walmart sells 666,917 dozen company-wide. Here's more numbers. There are 65 billion eggs produced in the U.S. every single year. That's with a B, honey. That's 5,416,666,667 dozens of eggs sold in a year. And the average cost of the eggs in the United States currently is $3.59. And the sales price is $2.99. How often do they go on sale?
Not that often.
Not at all. Maybe once a month, and that's usually for about 7 days. The funny thing is just the sheer amount of numbers. Now let's get a little bit deeper into eggs. I guess we'll get into the shell of it. How about that? So A washed egg or a white egg lasts for about 3 to 5 weeks refrigerated, and an unwashed egg or a brown egg can last 2 to 3 weeks outside refrigeration and an additional 4 to 5 weeks inside. Now, that brown is just a protective cuticle, and to be honest with you, the eggs do taste a little bit better. Now, these numbers that I'm about to throw out to you guys, it's going to be overwhelming. So please feel free to rewind at any time. Hens lay anywhere from 3 to 7 eggs per week. So on an average, it's 5 to 6. I guess the hens get a day off, huh? Look, imagine you're a hen and Farmer John comes up there and is like, "You got an egg today?" Like every day. And then the hen's like, "Boy, please, I need a day off. My hen hole is hurting."
Oh my
With, I know a pigeon has a cloaca. Do you think they have a cloaca too? They have to, because that's where the comes out, the poop, the cloaca. Say that. Say that word. It's
no.
fun. It's fun to say. Cloaca. Oh, come on, Rashawn. Play along. Cloaca. Oh, she's so not fun. I used to have a uniform for her when she was the police. So an average hen starts laying at approximately 26 to 30 weeks old if they really need to. Now they can lay eggs for approximately 6 to 8 years, but the prime production time is 3 to 4 years. That's where they have great egg production. That's when they're better quality eggs. Now the hens that are born are 8.1 million pullets of breeder chicks, and they're raised for approximately 1 to 2 years. Then they're put into what's called a laying flock. Now, that's when the hens, of course, are put into the farms that they lay eggs. That is their life. 4.5 million hens are added each and every year. Now, in early 2026, the breeder broiler hen complement was 60.55 million, and they have a lifespan of 2 to 3 years. Rashawn, why do you think their lifespan is only 2 to 3 years? The broiler breeder hens.
I don't know.
Well, think about it. You go to churches, you go to Popeyes, you go to KFC, you go to the grocery store and buy packs.
Yeah.
That's a broiler breeder hen. That's why the lifespan is so little, because they're full grown before you know it, and they get fed. They get the growth modifying stuff, and they get them fat. They get them swollen. So we're talking about hens and broiler breeders, but we're not talking about the big business and why we're talking about eggs, which makes no sense. I'm the comic plug. Why am I talking about eggs? Because my job is to enlighten the people that need to be enlightened, that don't really understand about sometimes the wool is pulled over our eyes as a society, and they keep us blind, and they keep us like afraid to ask questions. The largest egg farmer in the United States is Cal-Maine Foods. Cal-Maine Foods accounts for how much percent of the market do you think Cal-Maine Foods accounts for, Rashawn? They're the largest in America.
Say, oh, 100%.
100%. They account for 20%. 20%. So these numbers are based on 20% of the market share. So whatever they make, you can times that number by 5. The funny thing is that Cal-Maine Foods at any given time has 50 million laying hens. And those hens produce 13 billion eggs per year. Yes, you just heard my paper because I'm flipping back and forth. Here we go. Their market cap was $3.77 billion for market share at the current stock price right now. But the fiscal year ending May 31st of 2025, they attributed to the stakeholders or the shareholders $1.2 billion. That was up 339% from the $278 million in the fiscal 2024. Rashawn, why do you think it was up 339% from 2024 to 2025? What happened in 2025?
Wasn't that COVID? Say that again.
That again. I can't believe you just said COVID was in 2025.
No, oh,
Girl,
no. That's okay.
what happened in 2025? What are we talking about?
The prices went up.
The prices went up in some cases $7 to $10 per dozen. You remember?
Yeah.
COVID was in 2020. That was 5 years ago. That's how math works. So they were up 339% from $278 million from the fiscal year. Eggs were 81% higher in 2025 than they were in 2024. That was an increase of the profit margin for Cal-Maine Foods. It went from 23.3% drop to the bottom line, or NIBIDA, in 2024, up to 43.4% in 2025. They were 81% higher, Rashawn. You know what that tells me? They were robbing us blind. There was no avian flu. They told you that 5 million birds were slaughtered. They didn't tell you if there were breeder broilers. They didn't tell you if there were hens. But I'm going to tell you this 5 million hens, even if the laying hens, is a drop in the bucket to the 60.55 billion that we go through a year. They increased the prices when they didn't need to.
Yeah. Because they want our money.
They got our money. Rashawn, they got our money. Yours, mine, theirs, all of them. Let's touch on something a little bit near and dearer. Not everyone eats eggs, but a lot of people drive a car, don't they?
Yeah.
Let's look at some numbers. In 1994, a barrel of crude oil was $16 and a gallon of gas was $1.06 on average. In 2026, a barrel of crude oil is $61 and the gas got up to $4.48 a gallon at that same time. The barrel of crude oil was an increase of 381.25%. So with that mathing, you take 106 and you times that by $381.25%, and you come up with $4.04. That is a missing amount of 44 cents. Now I know what you're saying. That's not a lot of money, right? 44 cents isn't a lot. Okay, yeah, you times that by 92 billion gallons of gas a year. And this number is outrageous. The number is $40,480,000,000 of pure, unadulterated profit that's going nowhere but to probably the Koch brothers' pockets. And in turn, they're paying the lobbyists, and the lobbyists are paying the people in government to pass these laws to allow these taxes to hit, these BS taxes. And they say that, oh, well, we're going to raise the tax on gas so that we can fix roads. Really? Really? Or schools will be better. Really? Now, I know we usually keep things light around here, don't we, Rashawn?
Sometimes.
But the problem is that just from one question in a car, she was driving, I'm on my phone, and I'm making notes. And I'm like, this is crazy. And when I read this to her, She was amazed by this. And then it took me literally 3 minutes to look up the gas stuff. Guys, we're missing $40 billion. But we know exactly where it's at. Out of our pockets and into theirs.
Sure is.
Rashawn, what do we need them to do?
Turn your notifications on.
That's one.
Subscribe.
That's two. How about give us a like and a comment?
Yeah.
How about that? All right, guys. From the Comic Plug and from
Me.
We Love You Forever. We'll see you guys later. Deuces.